Hi, welcome to part 3 of the series on putting together some kit-bashed mutants for the Mutant Rabble. In this third part, I'm really trying to make use of various bits and pieces from different places. I don't have any more of the poxwalkers to use, so I'm now going to start taking a look at maybe trying to integrate some of these Warhammer Underworld miniatures, see if I can make them look a bit more 40k. In the meantime, I've been starting this first one, lower torso from the Chaos Cultists set from a number of years ago, and that bit of an upper torso is one of the last bits I have from the Kill Team Rogue Trader set. As you can see, I've been using a bit more green stuff to fill the gap and join these pretty different parts together. One for that podgy midriff again, which is a good way of disguising the join. Also kind of hints at the mutants starting to bulge out and expand and grow in funny places. Pretty forgiving in terms of a subject matter and using the green stuff. On the side of the trousers there, I've covered up some kind of rough areas where I've clipped away additional items and replaced them with probably quite crudely sculpted cargo pocket type things. Just going to glue this one into the base now, just so he's got something to stand on. The plan is, because I'm building an extra 10 of these to the unit, I can make one of them a special weapon, and I've not done a flamer yet. So I'm going to make use of this Cadian Shock Troops flamer. It comes with the backpack, you know, the fuel canisters to go in the back, and also the flamer itself. I'm going to try and swap out the arms and use a different set of arms from somewhere else, possibly Victoria Miniatures, maybe Anvil Industries perhaps. So it's just going to be a case of using the side cutters to start removing. I'm going to replace the hose so I can afford to get rid of that to make it a bit easier, and then just a case of tidying up some of those cuts. Not so easy to do test fits necessarily with these. Kind of just have to give it a go and see what happens. Maybe also worth removing that Imperial Eagle from the side. And while I'm here, maybe drill out that barrel. Find it easier to make a impression first with the blade and then come in with the small drill. I think before adding those arms and weapon and getting in the way of things, I might get the head added on. I've got a few different options to use. I'm kind of tempted to use one of these, maybe these larger ones. This steery head, which I think is from the zombie kit, the Warhammer zombie kit. I think he might be quite fun on there, that facial expression. Because the neck's quite a large neck, and these smaller resin heads can be tricky to fit on there. I would like him to be looking to the left if I can. I need a little bit of liquid green stuff in the join there. I think that's a good look. It's just so he's roughly looking across in the direction that the flamer's pointing. So I'm going to need some super glue now. Just going to assume that it's all going to fit with the two arms after a good amount of back and forth with the super glue in the arms, I think I've ended up with something that will look okay, pose-wise. He's got a good expression. Although he's, it's a zombie head, I think it's ideal for this. I like that one. And then the backpack sits pretty well on there. Nice surface for that. And then to reconnect the hose, I'm going to use some of this flexible piping. I reckon I'll be able to super glue that if I cut a small enough piece. Okay, I've got one end attached. So just need a little spot of super glue there. And then it can be sometimes easier to use a little set of pliers to move things into position and hold them. Okay, so that's number 1 done, or number 6 of this series anyway. He's worked out good. I'm happy with that. Just to kind of show you the comparison, for a complete novice such as myself with the green stuff. When you see a detail on the side of the leg there, that little cargo pocket. If I look at a Forge World miniature, one of these renegade militia types, and you look at the little storage packs that he's got around his waist and the amount of detail and how sharp those are. These weren't created on computer with CAD. These are hand sculpted, and you can really see the quality there in the work. You get a bit more of an appreciation for the kind of work that goes into these things. But nonetheless, I'm happy with that, and that's the flamer for the unit overall. Ready to go. And he's got a good expression, that's the main thing. So next, I'm going to try one of these Underworld miniatures. And what I noticed was he's got what can be seen as a mutated right arm. And I have this left arm from one of the previous miniatures that I've clipped off. I think it'd be quite a fun sculpt or pose to have, the 2 arms, these kind of overgrown, mutated, horrible arms coming out from him. Be a good look. It's just these miniatures are so detailed and thin. Not sure how well they're going to work, but nonetheless I'll give it a go. And we'll do a head swap as well. Then I'm going to remove also these things sticking out from the arm, kind of extra details I don't need. A few different heads I can choose from. Might need some green stuff around that just to help blend it in. So yeah, it will need some work. And I also thought about changing the legs to swap those out. If I were to cut the miniature at the waist below the belt. So again, you're kind of removing most of the original miniature. Might try those crouching legs. I've not got any of the guys crouching down, so maybe just for a bit of variety you could do one. So in a situation like this where the join's almost there, but there's always going to be a slight gap. Might just take a little bit of green stuff and glue the miniature together with that. I'm just going to use what got squeezed out a little bit there to kind of complete the join. So for this guy I'm thinking of sticking this comically large backpack, a bit like Death Stranding or something, onto his back. Maybe help explain why he's down on one knee. Could I use this cable tie to make a couple of straps for over the shoulder? Always useful having some different sizes of pliers around when you're modelling like this. Sometimes with super glue you can't really do much else but just hold it in place till it catches. I know there's accelerators and things you can spray on it, but when you've got two hands, you can't really do much. Right, I've carried on with the zip ties. Tried my best to get something that might look like some sort of heavy duty straps over his shoulder. So again, I'm just going to glue this backpack on now. Okay, that's how he turned out. He's carrying the supplies, or the sandwiches for break time. Started the third one, or the 8th, in this group of 10. He's got a replacement leg on the left, nice mutated one. A little bit of green stuff to kind of work that in to the rest of the clothing. And then what I'm looking at doing, I've noticed that I think this is a bloodthirster upper torso. I kind of noticed that there's a similarity there at the top of the stomach, or just below the chest. I think that might go together. I put the head on it as well just to get that stuck on. I quite enjoyed the pose of that one. I think if I were to just chop some of this off here, might be able to make something suitably mutated. I think those two parts would go together quite well. Maybe a little bit of blending work with yet more green stuff. I've honestly never used as much green stuff as I have been in these miniatures. It's been really useful actually. It allows you to bring things together which would be well beyond, just gluing things. Which would be well beyond just glue alone. You really do need something that can be sculpted a little bit and pressed into place. Yeah, you can already see that will work quite well with a bit more work. Get it kind of posed right first, and I'll need to let that set properly, but that'll work. The plan, I think for this one, is going to kind of be a sort of musician for the unit. These bells from a zombie kit, and what I thought would be good is one of these arms from the Kill Team Rogue Trader miniatures. Looks like it'll fit on there really well. If I clip away the weapon that's currently on it, yeah, I think I'll have the bell hanging down the way would be a bit nicer. Maybe keep a little bit of that chain, and then maybe cut that bit to there. He'd maybe be ringing the bell when it's dinner time and all the mutants come running. The top part of the chain, which can maybe just show that coming out the top of the hand also, just to carry on. Yeah, I think that works quite well. to look like he's holding that chain. Let that dry. And then for hitting the bell, the arm here with the mace on it, if I take off the spikes, so that just turns into something to hit the bell with. And then maybe just smooth away some of those marks I've made. Yeah, I've tried to blend that in a bit between the two parts of the body. Gives it a nice shape overall. Interesting kind of design. What's good is this arm really does look like it would fit nicely there, lining up with the pec. Yeah, he's really giving it a good swing. Okay, that'll do it for that one. Kind of worked the two arms in there at the shoulders where there are some larger gaps, and crudely added a pistol to the side of his leg just to include it. I think the faces make it. The head swaps really add something. Okay, so for number 9, I think in the whole squad, out of the whole, well, what will be 30, I've not got any other pickaxes in the squad. So I think for a squad of miners, probably a good idea to have at least one pickaxe. The only thing you notice with these really thin, spindly models, you can kind of see the stress on the join there where the pickaxe meets the hand, kind of white appearing where it's wanting to bend and break off. I sort of fail to see how the miniatures of this style are going to last 30 years. You can go on eBay right now and buy miniatures from the late 80s and 90s, and they are still pretty much as they were. I'm not so sure these modern miniatures are going to make it. I'll start by removing some of the extra details that I don't want. What I thought was I could maybe make use of this kind of lower torso and legs from one of those Chaos cultists I cut off previously. The kind of jacket cloak thing might blend into whatever this character's wearing. Just need to remove the lower half. Even kind of lines up with that bag. So we're close enough. As with all these things, I'm finding that if you just get the initial cuts close enough to what you need, a mixture of the glue, maybe a bit of green stuff, can kind of get you the rest of the way. So that's going to work. A bit more green stuff around the waist to bring the two parts together. And then we'll do the head swap. Okay, it's a little bit of green stuff added to help blend that two halves together. Doesn't take much, you always end up mixing up too much of the green stuff, but it kind of works. So I want to do the head swap. This is very much an undead head on there right now. It does have hair coming down, which will make that a bit tricky. Okay, that'll do it for this one. Just to help hide some of the stuff on the back where I'd been cutting away things, just handy to stick a backpack on there. But it's good having one at least with the pickaxe for that mining theme. And again, I clumsily glued on pistol to the side. I've got options for the last one. I think I might try this guy crouching down. Can do a few swaps on there. It's a good pose. I've not got one like that so far. So I'm going to want the head swap. And I've got a nice pistol arm here. Use that. And I think I might make use of this lower leg with the tag on the ankle, just for the sake of swapping it in. So you end up with not much left of the original. But that's what it's about, you know, creating your very own designs that no one else is going to have anything like it. It's amazing how easy it is to do this. It seems that very often the parts kind of go together pretty well and make for some pretty fun poses. Okay, I like the pose. Sort of golem looking pose, just to help him get something to stand on. I've got a base here with a little bit of resin stuff, or resin cast stuff that I find very useful. I bought a bunch of this stuff on eBay. It's really useful. Comes in lots of different designs, kind of battlefield debris sort of stuff. I don't know who it was that was selling it. I think it was a shop of some sort on eBay, as far as I remember. But sometimes just when you need a little bit of something to stick onto a base, comes in really handy. So that's the 10 done in total now. I love making these. It's a lot of fun producing them. Come at it with no real plan other than you're creating a mutant rabble. It allows you to get, you know, stuck into all these kind of bits from different kits, start cutting them up and gluing them together and just seeing what comes of it. It's really a fun process. And the green stuff, probably the most green stuff I've used really in doing these sorts of miniatures. But it does help and it lets you smooth things over. Probably with more practice I would get better at it and be able to produce nicer results. But the advantage of doing a mutant rabble is that the green stuff just becomes part of the miniature, and anything rough or not particularly perfect about it is just the miniature. You know, it's a mutant. It allows you to get away with what might not be so good on a space marine or something like that. But with these sorts of things, you know, the green stuff works a treat with little or no effort at all. So, I mean, I could create more, but for the series anyway, I was planning to do the 10 to add to my existing 20 miniatures, so this is going to make the 30. So we'll leave it at that. Hopefully there's been something in the videos so far of use to you, and by all means, give it a go. Create your own mutant rabble, maybe for a kill team or any other purpose. You know, I'm sure they're usable in various games and things. The next video after this will be an example of painting them to match in with the existing minis I have. That's really key. The colour scheme really matters to tie them all together when you're creating kitbashed miniatures like this. You know, you've got to really make sure that there's a cohesive look to them somewhere, given the variety in the forms and the silhouettes. So, you know, a lot of the heads are similar, from that kind of same ranges. They're all bald, they happen to have that kind of menacing look, so they kind of all fit together. But the key thing will be the painting, using that colour scheme I used before, with the orange overalls with some yellow to pick out certain details. So hopefully I'll get that done in the coming weeks. But until then, thanks very much for watching the video.